This is something I genuinely do not get. Democratic women married to Republican husbands. I don't get it. If my husband was a Republican, truthfully, I would file for divorce.
Your husband, leave your husband. Go.
Hey ladies, welcome back to Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. I am your host, Nava. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as you come in. And let's jump into this topic of people cutting off their family members. They're still cutting off friends or anybody that they find out has voted for Trump. They are cutting them out of their lives and they are not playing. People are taking a stand because this is very serious. A lot of people are still saying that people are crazy or like they're overreacting, but these people don't realize that lives are at stake, that women are already dying because of the laws being changed, the abortion laws. They're not helping women when they need help, emergency abortions or anything like that. A lot of people that look like me are about to start getting unalived more by the men in blue because he's, going to take away all barriers, all protection for people who look like me. So he's already said it. He's going to give the police full immunity, which basically means they could do what they want when they want and they will not get in trouble for it. So that's another group that's in danger. Not just women, is people of color. I don't consider myself a person of color. I consider myself a black woman. So I know that people of color is the people that actually voted for him that are about to get deported. So that's another group that's going to be affected. A lot of their people are done with them too, because he's not going to just deport the people who have records or are criminals. He has already said what he's going to do. He's going to try to deport people that are from different countries that were even born here. So a lot of people are about to be affected, and this is why a lot of people are just cutting them out of their lives, because your vote meant that you did care about them, you don't care about them, and you're unwilling to hear them. Y'all, it's so much. But let's get into these videos, and I will be back with my commentary after this.
On the bright side, it is a good time to be a divorce lawyer because, baby, when I tell you, if you are a woman who voted for Kamala and then your husband voted for Trump and y'all have daughters or shit, y'all have kids and you not filing for divorce after this shit, baby, I pray for you. I pray for you because you are going to be in hell. Like, your house is about to change so drastically in the next year, because they're about to rip this shit to shreds. And you have to live with that man. The man who voted, I keep saying this, he voted for the KKK. Oh my God, no, seriously though. Like, I know the divorce lawyers are eating this shit up right now, because I just saw a post of a woman who was saying that she's not answering her husband's call. Like, he called her like 27 times, like probably more than that, but I like the number 27, so I'm going to go with that. He called her 27 times. She ain't pick up. And they live in the same fucking house. I guess he's getting iced out. And then I saw a whole bunch of comments of white women talking about something. Yeah, I'm divorced. I'm considering divorce. I don't know how I could look my husband in the eye. We have 3 daughters. Like, yeah, girl, go file that paperwork. If you really are sitting there considering, you've been feeling that shit for a long time, and this should be the deciding factor. He said, fuck your uterus. Your daughter's uterus. Fuck up their rights. Who cares if they go to school? Who cares about education? File the paperwork. Live your best life with a man who has common sense.
I've never been brave enough to mail off my divorce paperwork in the years I've been separated from him, because I knew it would be a fight. And the results of this election have pushed me to finally grow a pair of balls. And I just sat here crying tears of joy, sealing this envelope to finalize my divorce from someone I know who voted against my rights. We're no longer afraid.
I'm acquaintances with quite a few Trump supporters, and I just want to tell you what I'm seeing They're upset that people don't want to be in community with them anymore. And I'm not talking about business owners, I'm talking about everyday friendships. They're losing community. I'm consistently seeing Facebook posts and things like that where people are saying you shouldn't lose friends over political differences. This wasn't a regular election, and I don't think that a lot of people on that side realize how big this was for a lot of the people that they were in community with. The way fascism goes and the way it's going in some places like Texas is that eventually, as things become more illegal and things become prohibited and things like that, they are going to start incentivizing your community to turn against you. And you need to make sure that you are in community with people not only that you like, but that you trust. If I know you're voting against my right to exist, my right to have a family, my right to carry on as a human being, I don't trust you. And another thing is, you might be able to control what people do in their day-to-day life, but you can't control who people associate with. You can't make me like you. And I think that's pissing a lot of people off.
I've been seeing the trend of the women that are like, going to cancel out my husband's vote by voting blue for Kamala Harris. Like, I mean, I feel you, but also, if that man's voting for Trump, he is actively voting against you and your rights. Let's make that clear. God forbid you got daughters, nieces, sisters, any other women in your family. He's voting against all of y'all. This ain't just differing on tax policy or, immigration reform, prison reform, infrastructure. These are moral differences. J.D. Vance said the man's vote for the family should be enough, as in the women shouldn't get to vote. Those are your rights. The right to choose, abortion bans, like, this is your health care. He's actively voting against you. Let's make that clear. Maybe leave them. Well, I'm not advocating for divorce. Long as you're happy.
Good morning. I'm seeing a lot of people online that are like, unfollow if you voted Trump, unfollow if you support racists. Now, this is interesting because Trump actually got more of the Hispanic male vote than Kamala did, but I digress. Why are you wanting to end friendships, work relationships, or familial relationships over suits in DC who, quite frankly, don't give a fuck about you? This is so wild to me that people want to exist only within their echo chamber, and if somebody voted differently for them, I don't know, maybe because they were like, don't want new wars, they want lower taxes, they don't want males and female spaces, that somehow they need to unfollow you. This is the most entitled, self-absorbed bullshit I have ever heard. And if this is you and you're like, unfollow me if you don't vote the way I do, you're part of the fucking problem. Honestly, like, get out of your own echo chamber. Society's not a monolith. And if that's the world you want to live in, it's really sad. And I feel sorry for you.
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you. Fuck, 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 fuck.
Immediately breaking up over the election, to me, is crazy. Now, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, I voted for Kamala. I am pro-choice, even though I know personally I would never encourage my wife to get an abortion, unless her health was at risk, rape, incest, I couldn't see myself forcing that onto anybody else. And there's so much nuance in the conversation to be had on both sides. And I think that is what throws me off about people immediately breaking up. Now, if you realize that there are just fundamental differences, that how you want to raise your family, and the election exposed that, and it just won't work, I understand that. But immediately jumping to breaking up with your partner, for me, the reason why I think that's dangerous is because it sets the tone that you cannot engage in productive dialogue with somebody that you disagree with, and that is the epitome of what makes a strong relationship. It's one thing to be with someone that's a complete mirror of you and an echo chamber, but to be able to engage in dialogue with someone that sees the world different than you, and lead to a conversation where you guys can find common ground, that is the beauty of a relationship. That is what creates, in my opinion, a strong eternal partnership. I know my wife has taught me so much about the issue of abortion and has allowed me to have that growth to understanding different things, for me to be like, now I'm passionate about maternity leave and paternity leave. I've always been passionate about the wealth gap in America being the issue that creates so many different problems, and super passionate about social issues. But just that aspect of breaking up with your partner because you disagree with them immediately, I don't understand. Like I said, if down the road you're just like, yeah, there's no coming to understanding, the person's not hearing me out, morally we just don't align, yes, by all means, there's too many people in the world to be with somebody, spending eternity with somebody that does not align with you morally. But overall, I would say if this election caused strife in your relationship, I would for sure encourage you to go to your partner, sit down, have a nice little date, take a little walk, and just voice your opinion on how you feel, and then spend time together researching and educating yourself. But yeah, I'm always about, I love love, so spread love. Y'all see the ring. I'll let y'all later.
These Democrats, Michelle Obama, what's the other guy name? Not Ricky Smiley, but D.L. Hughley and a few others, is insinuating people divorce their spouses if they not voting for Kamala. They willing to tell people to destroy their families over a vote that's not going to benefit black people. Y'all don't see what's going on. Now, I'm not telling y'all to go vote for Trump. Trump is just as evil. Here's the crazy thing. Follow me on this. When Trump was the president for 4 years, he ain't do nothing for black people, regardless of what these so-called people who's voting for him say. He ain't do nothing for black people. Kamala Harris and Biden, they've been in, she the VP. They ain't do nothing for black people the last 4 years. They've been in president. Like, if they was going to do something, they would have done something. Like, and both black people on both sides is caping for these people who don't give a daggone about them. They pander to y'all. And y'all talking about y'all so woke on both sides. Y'all so educated on both sides. Y'all fighting against each other. Oh, Kamala be lying. Oh, Trump be lying. All of them is lying to y'all. I'm telling black people, yo, sit this out. Show them how much power you have by sitting this out. Show them you mean business if they ain't cutting them checks. But y'all sitting up here tap dancing and they telling y'all to break up y'all marriage. They telling y'all to divorce your husband if they vote the other way. That's crazy.
I'm just sitting here going through TikTok because I heard that there are women that's declaring war against their husbands and that they're going to divorce because of this election. And I'm running across stories where people are saying that they're breaking up their friendships because of the election. And I find this to be either attention-seeking, lying, or you just fucking stupid. There is a 0% chance that you can tell me that you have a best friend of 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. You have lived with someone, slept with someone, created children with someone, called yourself one, and you didn't know that they were aligned in their thoughts and beliefs on certain issues. Because, like, all of my friends and I, like, I don't know what y'all be doing. But my friends and I, we'll kiki, and we'll gossip. But we have serious conversations, too. Like, we'll talk about what's going on in the news. And we'll talk about the economy and finances and purchasing homes. So what the fuck y'all be doing in these friendships?
The divorce lawyer says she got 14 new clients after the election, nearly 3 times the normal number for the busiest of weeks. Political disagreements have been tearing families apart for a decade now, but 2024 seems to be on a whole other level. Which isn't surprising, of course. The contrast between the two respective sides of the political aisle could not possibly be more stark. And women's issues were, of course, one of the things that were at the center of this election. And it seems to have been a lot of women's last straw if what divorce lawyer at Parker Lawyer on X experienced is any any indication. In her tweet, she noted that aside from the fact that November is the slowest month of the year for divorce lawyers, a phenomenal week for her would be 5 new cases. Instead, she got 14 in just the 2 days after the election. And of course, it's possible that her surge in clients was driven by men, but it's highly unlikely as women initiate as much as 70% of divorce proceedings according to some estimates. And she's not the only legal professional who's noticed a surge. Social media is also full of posts from men saying that their wives have even already served them divorce papers since the election. Many of them, like this since-deleted Reddit post, expressing shock that someone would end a marriage over just politics. But it's likely not just politics. The shocking misogynist rhetoric unleashed by people who voted like him since election night is frankly astonishing. All those your body, my choice chants among men who voted for the president-elect are... I don't even know what to say about that. But probably even more relevant is the fact that polling has shown that Republican voters, the vast majority of whom are men, were largely misinformed not only on the facts of the issues at hand in this election, but more importantly, the Republican policy proposals put forth to solve them. With, for example, Google searches about tariffs going absolutely through the roof on November 6th. After the election was already over. For Democratic voters, on the other hand, the majority of whom are women, polling has shown the opposite to be true. So we can safely assume that most women are very familiar with what's about to come down the political pike. And among those potential policies is the elimination of no-fault divorce, which has been a fixation among Republican politicians, men's rights activists, religious conservatives, and many others for quite some time now, and would mean women were only permitted to divorce their husbands if they could prove some kind of wrongdoing, which is of course impossible in most cases. As another woman on X put it, when it comes to divorce, there's a real feeling that women better do it now if they want to do it. And it seems like an awful lot of them are drawing this same conclusion. As the old saying goes, elections have consequences.
So if you're following me on my page, you know that I have been actively talking to my husband about ending our 17-year marriage. But the events of the past week have made me think that maybe that's not a good idea. That this is the wrong time to go out there on my own with my kids, make myself a single mother. There's so much chaos and conflict and unknown out there that I shouldn't make any big moves. Being in my marriage is difficult and hard, and I'm very unhappy, but at least I know it. It's the devil that I know. But then a couple days after the election, I think I was watching a video, where Trump was talking about dismantling the Department of Education. And I have 2 kids who have IEP, so I was emotional and upset about it. My husband had come home and he had asked me, what's wrong? And I told him nothing. I said, I'm fine, I'm just not feeling well. And then he walked off. And the reason why I didn't tell him about what I was really feeling is because I know that my husband is not a person that I would talk to about my emotions and feelings because it's not safe. It would have turned into an argument about politics or about how a woman shouldn't be president or about conservative and libertarian and Joe Rogan and all this other shit. And my feelings would be cast aside, not meaningful or important. And that made me realize that my instinct was correct. I have to get out of here. This isn't a safe place for me, and it hasn't been a safe place for me for years. And even though I've done a pretty miraculous job keeping the marriage together, keeping the family together, in spite of my husband's effort to tear it down with his words, his actions, his indifference, this isn't the right place for me. I can't be the mother that I need to be. I can't be the protector that I need to be for my kids and myself in this environment. I know I can do it. I know I can protect myself. I know I can take care of myself. I've done it all along through this entire marriage. And I've done it while being undermined, while having somebody that's been against me and somebody who's tried to tear me down. That means if I'm free of that in the world, I can thrive. This is so different for me. I don't do this. I don't take risks and I don't take chances. This is going to be the first time in my life, really, that or the first time in many, many years that I'm going to take the biggest risk that I've ever taken. But I'm betting on somebody. I'm betting on someone who's come through for me every time. And that's been...
Well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Advice needed. I voted for Trump. My wife sent divorce papers. What do I do? I don't know. You probably shouldn't have voted for a man who hates your wife. I didn't know it was possible to be served divorce papers this quickly. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I don't even know what to say. I'm shocked I married somebody willing to throw away our entire life over politics. Last week we were happy, today we're getting divorced. She won't have a discussion. She says nothing will change her mind. Insists she is going to report my parents because they live off of disability, but my dad does some cash work auto repair. She wants me to buy her out of the house. We have $300,000 in it plus built a 4-bay garage since we bought it 3 years ago. I can't afford that. Should have thought about that before. When I told her as she was packing her things, she said, I guess you're finally going to really know how it feels to be fucked by a Democrat. ETA, her name is on the deed but not the mortgage. I'm not confident that I can reason with her. What do I do? Where do I start? How do I fix this? Is anybody else experiencing this in the wake of election results? I sure as shit hope so. And I wish your ex-wives a lifetime of happiness.
Divorces are up, and they are up over politics. Here is just one example. I'm starting divorce procedures with my husband after I found out he voted for Donald Trump. It's not the only reason. We've already had problems like him forcing me to go to church or having me quit my job and become a housewife because he got promoted for a good job. I couldn't find a job where we moved, so I settled in doing housework. I cook, I clean, I'm good at it, but the Trump vote was the last straw, and his lack of remorse. We had a conversation. I told him how hurt I was, how he knew how much I hated Trump, the trauma that man has put me through, but he did not care. I should be grateful because of the job benefits he'll have for his line of work. I'm not going to do this anymore. We have no prenup. I'm going to fight for my rights. We've been married 8 years. I've sacrificed so much. Not anymore. I'm going to take everything I'm owed. The political divide is as big as I've ever seen it, and I've been a divorce lawyer for 20 years, so people have been coming in and talking about their political differences as one of the conflicts that exists in their house for a long time, but it is now at an all-time high. The ideological divide in this country has just gotten wider and wider and wider, and many of us were hopeful that after the election there would be some relief, but it seems to have only exacerbated the divide. Have you all seen this in your friend group? Are you watching this happen near you as well?
You know, one of the saddest things is that I know people who are being disowned by their family only because of who they are voting for. How sad is that? Listen, if you're my friend, you're family to me. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. Personally, I don't care about politics. But it's a very sad thing that there's several people that I just personally know. I can only imagine how many more people out there in the world are simply being disowned by their family and close friends. What has this world come to?
I hear a lot of people saying, oh, we can have different opinions on policy and still be friends. And to those people, I say that my wife is a sexual assault survivor. And this election has taught me one thing, and that is that if her rapist could save you a couple of bucks, you would rather see him in public office than behind bars in a jail cell. So, no, we cannot be friends.
Question of the week. Would you stop being friends with someone who voted for Trump? That is the big question of the week. You voted for Trump, you don't care about me, you don't care about my family. So the friendship is done. The relationship gotta go too. That situationship and that companionship, bye. I don't care if I'm in church and the pastor voted for Trump, the fellowship, gone. I don't care if my business partner voted for Trump, the partnership is done. I don't care if it was somebody I'm dating, the courtship is done. I don't care if I was in the Navy, the battleship is done. I'm blowing up the battleship. I don't care if I'm at the dealership picking up my brand new car. If I find out the owner of the dealership voted for Trump, the dealership is done. Baby, in the way that I've been feeling this week, my citizenship is about to be done. I'm done with all shit.
It's been a full week since I spoke to my mom. We last spoke on election day. And I don't plan on being the bigger person this time. All I asked her was to vote. Just please vote. She didn't even do it. Not even for me. Not because the fact that you didn't care about the outcome, you did not care about the outcome at all. not even a little bit, then why not just vote for your daughter? Because this is important to her. She wants you to vote. So if the outcome didn't matter to you, why didn't you just do it? Because your daughter knows and sees that it's extremely important enough for her to stick up for herself, something she hasn't done. Like, I would just take shit and eat it. Literally. Like, I would get the shit end of the stick as I grew up all the time. And I guess they don't realize that, but it is what it is. But this time around, I'm like, I can't keep my mouth shut about this. This, not only is it important to me, but it affects our lives. They don't care. I'm going to let them know how much I care. But she didn't care enough to even vote because her daughter wanted her to, because it was important to me. And so that kind of hurt. And then she said some things that kind of altered my opinion of her a little bit. And I was really disappointed to hear. And so with the response that she gave me, I said, well, that's not the example that I would like to set for my kids one day. I don't have kids currently, but I do plan to have children. And I always think often about how I want to raise my kids and the values and the morals that I want to pass down to my children. And so when she said what she said to me, I said that's not something I would like to set an example for my kids, as like, that's just not morally right. And her response was, well, then you can raise your kids how you want to. Got it. So what I got from that is that you're not going to be an example for my children, but you expect to have all the benefits of a grandparent. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. You're going to be very disappointed. You're going to be very disappointed when you find out that you're not going to see your grandkids as much as you would like. Because I would like to raise decent human beings, period. Good human beings that care about other people. And if they can't get that example from the people that are supposed to love and care about them, then why would I put my kids in that environment? So that kind of hurt amongst other things. Like, I was deeply hurt. And then we ended our conversation with her saying to me that I've always been this way. She said, I've never said this to you, but you've always been this way. And so I took that very personal, because it seems to be something that you've been holding on for a very long time. So I asked her to elaborate. I said, what does that mean? Tell me more. What have I always been like? And it was stumbling. You've always been this way. You always never listen to your mother. You always want things to go your way. Baby, I just want you to vote. That's it. I'm asking you to vote. Like, it is. I'm not asking you to do some things. Like, I'm not asking you to travel the world. I'm not asking you to paint your hair. Like, I'm asking you to vote for human rights. I'm asking. And I was like, okay, if that's how you feel. And I hung up. I hung up the phone, and I haven't talked to her since. She hasn't called to apologize, and I will not call her because I have nothing to apologize for. I asked you to vote. I asked you to vote because it was important. I asked you to vote because it was important to me. I asked you to vote because you have the right to vote. And you still chose not to. You still didn't care enough to vote because your daughter asked you. Your daughter begged you to. And then you said some things that hurt. As a mother, it hurt. As a daughter, hearing it as a daughter, coming from their mother. So I haven't talked to her. I have nothing to apologize for. She hasn't called me because I'm pretty sure she knows she has to apologize, and I've never heard that woman apologize a day in her life, especially not to her children. So I don't know when's the next time she's going to want to talk to me. I don't know, but I'm not giving in. I'm not, because here's one thing about me is I put in so much effort with my family. I've made sure to show up for events. I show up for my parents every single time they need me. I help parent their other two children, their two little ones, who aren't even little anymore. They're grown. I put in so much effort. I have put myself to the side to help them. And then not just that, but even growing up as a teenager, I always took the brunt of shit. I was always the problem, and I always ate that shit, and I ran with it because they're my parents. But I'm 28 years old. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And I think a perspective for me was, when I choose to have children, like, how do I want to raise them? And I started realizing that my parents have traits, character traits, unfortunate ones, that I do not want my children to be around. And that was the first eye-opener to, maybe I need to take a step back from the people who I grew up with as my family and just focus on my own. I'm picking up on the fact that my family doesn't give a shit about what I got going on, what I care about. But I go above and beyond every single day to ask everyone what their day was like, what they got going on. Is there anything they need help with? Fuck that. I'm not doing that anymore. I've done it for too long. I put all my own best interests to the side for them, and they couldn't get up and vote for me. Like, I'm tired. As the oldest of 4 siblings, I am tired of doing work and putting in effort for the rest of the family, and y'all don't give me a fucking quarter of it back. I'm done.
Hearts are breaking in the world tonight and every night. But Trump supporters' hearts are breaking out there. Someone I love, unconditionally love, sent me this video. And I thought this creator shared some great ideas about unconditional love, and I'm for that part of the video. There's a part of the video I disagree with, though, that I think he got significantly wrong. He said it's a good thing when mothers and sisters and friends leave your life because they don't understand why you voted for Trump. But because what it tells you is they didn't love you unconditionally. Now, I encourage unconditional love, and I don't encourage people leaving each other's lives over a vote, even though it's painful, even though this vote means more than Trump supporters understand. And maybe we can help them understand it a little bit better. But Trump supporters, if you really care about these people leaving your life, and he says they have covert narcissism because they're leaving your life, and they're really a kid in an adult's body, and actually a lot of us, we're all kids in adult's body, I think, with our own set of traumas. I think this creator has his own set of traumas as well. Now, these people leaving your life, it's good riddance to them. That's not unconditional love on your part. If you're saying good riddance to them, you don't really love me unconditionally. If you love them unconditionally, you would want to know why. Tell me why you think this decision I made is so horrible that you would actually leave my life. I want to understand it fully because I love you completely, no matter whether you leave or stay. That would be unconditional love. And if we understand why we believe certain things, and he did talk about the truth setting us free, I think when we do find the truth, it will set us free. Love you unconditionally. Trump supporters, Harris supporters, supporters of freedom and our Constitution.
My brother and his fiance uninvited me from their wedding, and now I have the wonderful pleasure of uninviting them from holiday activities because they voted for Donald Trump. I just want to know what you guys think of the whole entire situation, and if I'm being petty, if I'm being unreasonable. Just to give you guys a heads up, my brother gets free healthcare, my brother goes to school for free, and I helped him apply for all of those government programs. In addition to that, I gave my brother a free BMW SUV. He drives a free car. I pay for his car insurance, and I pay for his cell phone bill. In addition to that, he lives at home and completely relies on the financial assistance of my mother. So this boy has the audacity to not only vote for Donald Trump, who is against women like myself and my mother, but then he has the audacity, after my mother was crying all day yesterday, he comes home celebrating his victory and rubbing it in my mom's face. Now, I understand we all have different opinions and political views, but you do not go to the home of a woman who financially supports you and rub it in her face. Go ahead, laugh about it with your friends, laugh about it with your unemployed fiance. It has now been over a month that I cut my brother off and I no longer answer his phone calls because the only reason he called me anyway was when he needed money. And I know that's really hard to do, and I know right now a lot of people are going to have some very uncomfortable Thanksgivings and Christmases, but at the end of the day, I really encourage you all to protect your peace. I'm not saying that you need to cut out every single person in your life that doesn't agree with you politically, but if after this election someone is literally taunting you, laughing at your face, and disrespecting you, regardless of what political party they are a part of, that person doesn't need to be in your life.
2024, MAGA family, MAGA nation. Tomorrow is my birthday. My birthday's at midnight. My family cut me off for being a Trump supporter, so I'm spending my birthday alone. I have no one to spend it with, but at least I have you beautiful MAGA people who've shown me the utmost support, and I'm thankful that we won. Trump 2024, life's gonna get better, and I'm just thankful to be a part of this MAGA group, and
Yeah, so even though it is depressing, I'm spending my birthday alone. It is what it is. I turn 23 tomorrow, so I'm just blessed to be alive and blessed to
My
be
grandma
alive.
just sent me a very sad text. It broke my heart.
Which chicken do y'all think is the best? Is it Popeyes? Is it Church's? Is it Bojangles? Is it KFC? Blech. Like, I don't know what the other chicken places are, but Popeyes is always number one for me. That's gonna be number one. I don't
Y'all
care.
need to get a load of this shit right here. So recently, my boy's family kicked him out of his house just because he voted for Trump. Disowned him, blocked him, all that, and he had to move to Texas. Mind you, I'm all the way up in Michigan. Go ahead, pause and read. You got it? Bet. So he called me, and the reason they gave him was that he didn't respect their rights, so they don't want him in the household. Y'all know Trump is pro-choice, right? Like, he's always been pro-choice. That's one of his biggest things because, well, honestly, he's a billionaire and he is a celebrity. So a billionaire celebrity, I could say, had a couple abortions in his lifetime. I can guarantee you that. And another thing is, the president cannot overturn a Supreme Court decision at all. Like, they're called Supreme Court for a reason. A president cannot codify Roe v. Wade when it's already at the state level. Like, they can't bring it to federal level. What are y'all talking about? This shows how much hatred can control you, because Donald Trump control y'all. That the ones that don't like him, he controls y'all. He can make y'all break up your families and relationships just off of existing. That's control. And the crazy part about it is he's only in the office for 4 years. Hell, he's 78. Do you think disowning people, demonizing people, and calling them racist, homophobic, misogynist, woman-hating, all this shit is gonna make you be on their side? Because remember, the presidency is a popularity contest. Y'all literally pushing people to the other side because y'all take politics so serious. And a lot of people don't really take politics that serious, whether you want to believe it or not. Most people didn't vote for Trump. They just didn't like Kamala, if we were being honest. At the end of the day, you control your own fate. You control your own happiness. Bring the power back to yourself. Like, my dog ain't even mad. He called they ass sore losers.
So at the end of the day, ladies, I think that just most men who voted for him don't really care about women in the first place and don't want to hear what women have to say, because we live in a patriarchy and women's voices are just not relevant in their everyday life. They just don't think that we're valid in any way, shape, or form. But the women who voted for him, I think, are just male identified and they're race identified. They identify with everything but their sex. And that is just a consequence that, all of us are going to have to live with now. So the people who know and see what's about to happen are preparing in every way that they can. People are making videos on what they're doing to prepare. Black women are saying they're done. They're like that we have to worry about ourselves now because the women have showed that they don't care about us. Other races of women showed that. We knew that white males don't care about anybody but rich white males. So everybody knows that. Black women were like, oh, wow, Mexicans even voted, wow. So black women are just like, we're done, like with everybody. It's just like the final straw, the final heartbreak to just let us know as a collective that nobody cares. This vote is different from a lot of elections. It was not the same as most elections because it was just so much on the table that was affecting so many different people, and that's going to affect us immediately. It's already affecting women. Women are already being taken out because they can't get the help that they need in these hospitals when trying to bring men onto the planet. Women are about to die and are dying because they're trying to bring men that are going to do stuff like this to us onto the planet. Some of them are going to die trying to bring little girls here, but a lot of them are just going to die bringing men who don't care about them onto this earth. And that is why so many women are like, I'm going to get on long-term birth control, 5 years, 7 years, whatever I can do. I'm going to get my tubes tied. I'm going to get them ripped out, burned, whatever, because we cannot continue in a world that so obviously does not care about women, does not care about children, does not care about anybody but a certain color of men who have a certain amount of money. And then the men that look like them don't even realize what's going on. And the only way they will realize how bad this was is if people cut them off and leave them alone. And that's one thing that we as women need to know, that no matter how bad men act or what they do to you, they don't realize how bad it is because women haven't been showing them consequences as a whole. And this right here, a lot of women are putting their foot down, drawing a line in the sand and saying, no, you literally just went in there and told me by your actions that you do not like me. You hate me. You don't want to listen to me. And you're laughing at my pain. You're laughing at women. All of the women in our family are daughters that could go into labor and not be able to get help and lose their lives. And the women that don't see that, I'm glad that there are women out there that are cutting them off too. That's my main reason for cutting a lot of people off, not because of their vote. It's just because I'm not being heard about all of the issues that I talk to you ladies about on my page. I'm not being heard around, from anybody. So that's pretty much all I have, ladies. I will talk to you next time. Get down in the comments and let me know if you had any friends or family that you had to cut off or that cut you off or that you're thinking about cutting off, because things are about to get ugly. So y'all get ready in any way that you can. Let us know in the comments also, like what are y'all doing to prepare for all of the incels on the rise because of this. And we know as women what happens to women when things go crazy. They want to procreate. They're going to want to repopulate the earth, and they can't do that without us. So that's why women are like, oh, hell no. We're going to fix this now. But get down in the comments and let's chat, ladies, and I will talk to you later. Bye.